We have been listening to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi talk about that massive $2 trillion relief package that passed the Senate overnight. It now moves into her chamber's hands. The speaker there giving us a bit of a preview of what the debate over the bill might look like. She also spent some time talking about the importance of social distancing. She thanked first responders, including truck drivers and postal workers who are very much on the front lines of this crisis right now as well. And Kasie Hunt, who joins me now, Kasie, she also seemed to give us a bit of a preview of what we could expect in another bill that Congress could take up to address the coronavirus crisis, looking at SNAP, more money for state and local governments, and better treatment of Washington, D.C.
That's right, Craig, and I think it tells you something about where we are. I mean, the Congress is passing. This bill is historic. $2+ trillion going out the door to try and help with this crisis. And yet the message that we're hearing from the Speaker of the House as they head toward a vote on that is that we know already it's likely not going to be enough. So she talked about that change for Washington, D.C. Essentially, what she means is that the District of Columbia is being treated like a U.S. territory instead of a U.S. state, which means that they're losing out on about $700 million that other states are eligible for. She says that's one of the things that she wants to fix quickly. I also want to point out and sort of underscore that she's essentially taking credit for a lot of the changes in this bill. She's saying that they changed it from a corporate forward piece of legislation to one that puts workers and families first. She, of course, flew back to Washington over the weekend and did get involved with the negotiations on the Senate side that resulted in some changes to the bill. I mean, Republicans would dispute that and say that many of the ideas were originally theirs. But regardless, we do expect that this is going to be approved pretty overwhelmingly. It's not going to be unanimous. In the Senate, it was unanimous, 96-0, the vote in the Senate on this bill. Republicans do want the opportunity to vote no. Right now, we're expecting it's going to be a voice vote where they'll go down to the floor and you'll hear people shout yes or no, and then they'll call the vote as yes. That would prevent all 435 members of the House from having to come back to Washington, D.C. in potentially violation of many of the social distancing norms that we're all starting to do in our own lives. So the goal is to kind of avoid having to do that. But then, as you point out, Congress is going to be physically gone from Washington, again, out of safety concern primarily. The Senate is going to recess until April 20th. The House planning to stay out. There was already a 2-week Easter recess planned. That doesn't necessarily stop them, though, from being able to work behind the scenes to put together more pieces of legislation if they become necessary. And, I think the real question everyone has, Craig, how quickly are they going to start to get those checks? How quickly are these loans going to get out to small businesses that are feeling hit by this? They say that those checks should start going out as soon as within the next 3 weeks. There are some questions about folks who don't have direct deposit information on file from the IRS, how quickly they might receive their money. It's going to take a little bit longer, but the reality is everyone here is scrambling as fast as possible, and this all underscored by that terribly high unemployment number that we saw come out this morning, Craig, just really underscoring the degree, depth, and nature of this crisis for so many American workers and their families.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.